Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Memento deck profile. So I'm really excited to do some for you guys because we just got some amazing support for this deck out of Infinite Forbidden, even giving us a new awesome boss monster, Creation King, which takes this deck to a whole new level. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing a single copy of Combined Creation. The reason you play just a single copy of this card is this card can actually special summon itself out of the graveyard, which is a great effect. This card can actually special summon itself from the hand or the graveyard by shuffling 5 other Memento monsters with different names from your hand or grave back into the deck or the X deck, which is a really cool effect to basically just recycle your resources while also getting a 5,000 attack point boss monster on your side of the field. We then play a single copy of Horned Dragon. Horned Dragon is one of my favorite cards in the entire deck because it's based on Tri-Horned Dragon. But this card is a great extender because if you have 3 or more Memento monsters with different names in your grave, you can just special summon this card out to your side of the field. And if this card on the field is destroyed by a card effect, you can actually target 3 face-up cards on the field, including a Memento card that you control, and destroy them, helping you just pop a bunch of cards on the field, which is a great effect. We then play 3 copies of Tatsunoshigo. Tatsunoshigo is one of the most important combo pieces in the entire deck because it helps you fill up your graveyard with your Memento cards. Because this card has the ability, if you do not control any face-up monsters other than Memento monsters, you can just instantly special summon this card in the hand. Also, during your main phase, you can actually destroy a Memento monster that you control and send any number of Memento monsters with different levels from your deck to the graveyard whose total level equal or are less than the destroyed monster's original level, meaning you're going to pop this card and then send equal to level 5 to the graveyard, which is a really cool effect. I love that about this card. It's just a really good extender in the deck and also helps you fill up the grave. We then play 3 copies of Darkblade. Darkblade is amazing for this build, and actually a 1-card combo for the deck, because this card has the ability, if it's normal or special summon, you can discard a Memento card, target a spell or trap that your opponent controls, and destroy it, being a walking MST. Also, during your main phase, you can actually destroy a Memento monster you control, meaning this card, and if you do, special summon a level 3 or low Memento monster from your deck, which is always going to be your copy of Ange-Witch that you're summoning off this card's effect. We then play 3 copies of Ange-Witch. Ange-Witch is also a 1-card combo for the deck, and this card is a great ability. If it's normal or special summon, you can add a Memento monster from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card, basically being these Stratos of the deck. This card has a really cool ability as well, that you can target a level 2 or lower Memento monster in your grave, destroy 1 Memento monster that you control, and if you do, special summon the targeted monster. And when you summon this card out to your side of the field, you're usually searching out your copy of Tatsunoshigo so that you can basically go full combo. We then play 2 copies of Sheeply. Sheeply is amazing because this card is a walking polymerization and has a really cool effect that during the turn a monster in your possession is destroyed by card effect. Quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if it's normal or special summon, you can actually fusion summon a Memento fusion monster, which is a really cool ability to basically just go in for your copy of your Creation King or your copy of Twin Dragon, which is a great card to be able to make. We then play a single copy of Gaddock. Gaddock is amazing to be able to play in the build because this card actually helps you play around Droll, because this card has the effect that if this card is normal or special summon, you can target a Memento card in your graveyard and add it to your hand, basically playing around your copy of Droll and Lockbird because you don't actually have to search once you summon this card out, you just grab it back out of the graveyard. Also, if this card is sent to the graveyard by a Memento monster effect, you can special summon this card, which is a really cool ability just to bring it back to your side of the field, then use its effect to be able to add a Memento card from your grave to your hand. We then play a single copy of Mace. Mace is really good in the deck as a 1-up, because this card with your copy of Combined Creation basically makes this card a snatch steal, as during your opponent's main phase, if you control a copy of Combined Creation, quick effect, discard this card, target a face-up monster your opponent controls, and take control in an end phase, which is a really cool effect to be able to end with a copy of IP Masquerena, this card in hand, and your copy of Combined Creation, because it'll basically make it so that you can take one of your opponent's monsters and then go in for an SP Little Knight, Nightmare Unicorn, or any other card using your copy of IP, plus the monster that you took from your opponent, which is a really cool effect. Also, this card is a really cool ability that during your main phase, you can destroy a Memento monster that you control, and if you do, add a Memento card from your deck to your hand, which is a great ability to be able to search out the exact card that you need. We then play a single copy of Goblin. Goblin is great in the deck, but you only need a single copy of this card now. This card has the ability during the main phase, if you control a Memento combined creation, quick effect you can discard this card, and for the rest of the turn your opponent cannot target Memento cards you control with card effects. And during your main phase, you can destroy a Memento monster that you control, and if you do, send up to 2 Memento cards with different names from each other from your deck to the graveyard, helping you get more cards in the graveyard like your copy of Tatsunashigo. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is great to basically stop your opponent from touching the deck. We then play 3 copies of Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler is great in this build as a 3-up to basically just stop your opponent's monster effects. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Rhoda. Rhoda is definitely a 1-up in the build, so we can search out our copy of Darkblade, which is a 1-card combo. We can play a single copy of 1 for 1. 1 for 1 is really good in the deck to help you bring out your copy of Goblin to your side of the field. We then play a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is great to basically just stop your opponent from hand trapping you while you're going in for all of your plays. We then play 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. Triple Tactics Talent is really good in the deck as a 2-up to basically just draw 2, take control of an opponent's monster, or look at your opponent's hand and choose a card from it and shuffle into the deck, basically just eating hand traps away from the opponent, which is a really cool effect. We then play a single copy of the Memento Field Spell. This card is great in the deck as a 1-up because it helps out a lot because if your Memento monster battles, your opponent cannot activate any spells or traps until the end of the damage step, and if a Memento that you control is destroyed by battle by card effects, you can actually target one of those monsters and special summon a Memento monster with a lower level from your hand or graveyard, just helping you bring back a monster to your side of the field. And also once per turn during the end phase, you can target a Memento spell or trap in the grave and set it back to your side of the field, which is a great effect to be able to set your copy of the Fusion so you can go for Guardian Chimera during the opponent's turn, or even a copy of Bone Party just in case you need to. This card is definitely a 1-up in the build and just helps out a lot overall in the deck to basically just use in this particular build, and I absolutely love this card in the deck, but you only need a single copy. We then play 3 copies of the Fusion. Memento Fusion is really good to play in this deck as a 3-up because we are a Fusion based deck, and this card has the ability during the main phase you can Fusion summon a Fusion monster from your actually using monsters from your hand or field as Fusion material, including a Memento monster, and if a monster in your possession was destroyed by a card effect this turn, you can also shuffle Memento monsters from your grave back in the deck as material, helping you go in for your Fusion plays while also recycling your resources. And during your main phase, you can actually banish this card from the grave to destroy 1 monster you control, and if you do, add a Memento spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which is a really cool effect to help you get to a bunch of different cards, like your copy of your Cranium Burst. We then play 3 copies of Bone Party. Bone Party is definitely a 3-up in the deck. It destroys a Memento monster in your hand or face on the field to take a Memento monster from your deck with a different name and either add it to your hand or special summon in defense position, which is a great effect to help you get the exact Memento you want on your side of the field, like your copy of Darkblade or Ange Witch. Also during your main phase, you can manage this card from your grave and then target a Memento monster that you control, and if it attacks a defense position monster, inflicts piercing damage, which is a great effect to be able to use, especially with your copy of Combined Creation, coming out at 5,000 attack points. So, that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Fracture Dance. Fracture Dance is really good as a 1-up in the build, and I really like playing this card in the deck, because if you control a Memento monster, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it, then if you control a copy of Combined Creation, you destroy 1 more card on the field, basically letting you destroy 2 cards on the field, which is a great interruption against the opponent. We then play a single copy of Cranium Burst. Cranium Burst helps out a lot in the deck, and one of the cards you actually want to end on going first, because this turns your copy of Combined Creation to basically an Appaloosa, which is absolutely insane. Because while you control a Memento monster, your opponent's monsters that can attack must attack the Memento monster you control with the highest attack, their choice if it's a tie. And when your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, you can actually target a copy of Combined Creation you control, and it loses exactly 1,000 attack and defense, and if it does negate the activation, and that's a once per chain effect, basically making it so that you can negate 5 monster effects using this card, which is absolutely insane. And why you always want to end on this card, plus your copy of your Combined Creation going first, because it's very easy to bring your copy of Combined Creation back out of the graveyard on the follow-up, so you can OTK, because your opponent's basically not going to have anything, because you're negating everything with your copy of Cranium Burst. When you play a single copy of There Can Be Only One. There Can Be Only One is kind of like an auto win button for this deck because you're playing so many different types of monsters between the monsters you play in the deck, because all of your Memento monsters are different types, so this card just auto wins a lot of games, especially against certain decks that are playing one type of monster. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is really good to be able to play in the deck to basically just stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps. So, that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start off with 2 copies of Creation King. Creation King is an amazing new boss monster that we just got out of Infinite Forbidden, and this card is really good because it's actually an interruption and can actually search your field spell, because you can manage this card from the graveyard to add one of the field spell from your deck to your hand, and it also has the ability, if this card is Fusion Summon, you can send up to 3 Memento cards from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard, and quick effect, you can target an equal number of Memento monsters you control and cards your opponent controls and destroy them, which is such a powerful effect. Plus, it's a quick effect, which is so cool to be able to use as an interruption. We then play 2 copies of Twin Dragon. Twin Dragon is amazing to be able to search out the exact cards that you need. And if this card is Fusion Summon, you can destroy a Memento monster in your hand or face it from the field. And if you do, add 2 Memento monsters with different names from your deck to your hand. And if this Fusion Summon card is destroyed, you can special summon a level 6 or lower Memento monster from your graveyard to your side of the field. We then play a single copy of Guardian Chimera. Guardian Chimera is definitely a 1-of in the build because we can go into it using our Memento Fusion because it's a quick play spell during the opponent's turn, which is so cool to be able to do. We then play a single copy of Chaos Angel because we can make it, and it's really good to be able to make in this particular build. Basically just spot remove cards off the field, plus you don't have to use a tuner to make this card. We then play a single copy of Typhon. Typhon is just a great option to be able to make because you can make this card going second, basically just to deal with your opponent's monsters and also bounce cards off the field. We'll make a single copy of Underworld Goddess just in case we need to basically out towers like boss monsters the opponent might be playing. 1 copy of Access Code to pop multiple cards on the field, plus it comes out absolutely massive. 1 copy of Appaloosa to give us more monster negates, which is really nice for this deck. Play a single copy of Selene because we do play spellcasters in the deck, so we can climb into our copy of Access Code extremely easily. 1 copy of the Dark Charmer. Dark Charmer is great in the deck, so we can bring back Dark Monster in the opponent's graveyard to climb into Selene, and then a copy of Access Code, which is really nice. 1 copy of SP Little Knight. SP Little Knight is just amazing in this build. You can change it out for Nightmare Phoenix if you want to for a more budget option, which is just a really good card overall because it is a double interruption. We then play a single copy of IP Masquerena. IP is really good to end on because your copy of Mace can actually take control of one of your opponent's monsters, then use a copy of IP to link that monster away, so you can go over your copy of SP Little Knight or a copy of Nightmare Unicorn if you choose to play it over the SP Little Knight, which is another good option. We then play a single copy of Relinquished Anima because we do play level 1 monsters in the deck to basically just use this card to gobble up your opponent's cards. So, that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have not played Memento before, you should definitely give this deck a try because it's absolutely amazing now that we have the Creation King and some super easy ways to Fusion Summon, like our copy of Sheeply, which is such a cool card. So, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.